Hi, Gemini. Welcome to your end of March. Yeah, that's what month it is. 2021 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. I really was trying to remember. No joke. No joke. Okay, so I'm recording this on the new moon in Pisces, which is happening on the 13th of March. And at the end of the month, we're having a full moon, which is at 8 degrees of Libra, and that's a fellow air sign. So that forms a trine with your sun or rising sign. If you're, people sometimes say, oh, is this also for the rising sign? I guess, this is not the same as the astrology. I'm just designating groups of people that I'm doing readings for because they're general readings. But if you particularly resonate with your rising sign for some reason, then by all means, you can do that. But anyway, this is going to be in the 5th house. For some of you, I'm not going to specify, but later degrees, this could be in the 4th house, and that would be more emotional and kind of letting go of the past, maybe having revelations about childhood. For those that's happening in the 5th house, this can be a fun energy that is romantic and even bringing creative ideas to the forefront, like birthing them or seeing your creative ideas, having their harvests. So either one could be what is happening for you. And of course, we have that astrological new year on the 20th in Aries. And for you, it's in that house of hopes and wishes. So, for everyone, this is a great time of, maybe setting intentions for the next 12 months, just like you would do on a new moon or at the beginning of the year. Well, they say resolutions, don't they? But it's not so much about resolving, but I like the word intending because it's more, to me, positive in a certain sense. I don't know, it just feels more positive. The heart of the matter is the 9 of Wands. So as we go through the second half of March, one of the central themes for you is the idea of setting boundaries. And this is something that can come about, especially if there's anybody in your life who has been trying to step over those boundaries and violate your the way that you want to do things. So we have here 3 cards that are associated with fire. We have the 9 of, wands are associated with fire signs, and the fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So I don't know specifically if a particular fire sign is associated with the 9 of Wands. I would say Sagittarius is 9th house, But anyway, then we have the Page of Wands, and that might even be like Aries, because it's like the child. Aries represents the child. But then we also have the Sun that's in the challenge position. That's Leo. That is connected to Leo, and I know that. So basically, this person can be anyone in your life. And I often tell people, like with the 9 of Wands, if you have been dealing with somebody who's a narcissist or has a borderline personality where they won't take no for an answer, those types of people, and maybe they have ghosted you, or they have exited your life. And it doesn't just have to be a romantic partner. When I say ghosting, I mean they just suddenly you haven't heard from them. It might even be a problematic friend, it could be any kind of person that you've been dealing with, and they may resurface. And this can be at a time when you've been kind of figuring them out, because we have here in the past position the Ace of Swords, and this can indicate uh, you know seeing the light, seeing the truth, I should say, about a situation that maybe you were in denial about in the past, and you're able to start down a new path, because you have mental clarity. And one of the things that people who are problematic do is they gaslight, they try to convince you that you're the problem, it's your fault. If you weren't doing X, Y, and Z, they wouldn't have to do what they're doing. So they can never accept responsibility for their own actions. And in these situations, you can have this sense of progression, because you know that you're not imagining things, that you're seeing things as they are. There's a rational quality to your mind. Now, your swords, Gemini, that's just like the wands are fire. And so that might be also a new relationship with somebody who is also swords. And so besides Gemini, there's Libra and Aquarius. But with the Nine of Wands, this may be an aspect of you that is wary, that is kind of putting up a wall. And, in my feeling, sometimes Gemini loves to kind of be that witty person who always says, the clever thing, and is very personable, and is very, kind of like stands out in a group because of these qualities, and is very social and things like that. But perhaps when you're one-on-one with someone, that's when it becomes a little bit difficult to get close to someone. So if this is a new person in your life, you have to look at how you are carrying yourself too, because you might want this relationship, and perhaps it is something that is inevitable, but it also takes your own willingness to open up. And this, the Ace of Swords can be a new endeavor that involves the intellect. So the legal profession is a big one. I would say anything like teaching, and they, in my book, they were saying like surgery, like, a surgeon. But it's also a card of success. And with the sun in the challenge position, that would be partial success. I'll get to that in a second. The higher message, or like looking at this from the more spiritual perspective, the bigger picture, we have the Page of Wands. And so we have an ace and we have a page. So we're talking about the beginning stages of something. So if you feel like something isn't progressing as quickly as you would like, maybe you have to be patient about it and realize that there's an awakening. So that could even be like a new relationship with someone that has, that pages are messages, and you might be feeling that sense of joy dealing with this person, but perhaps again you have resolved something in your own life that has kept you keeping people at bay. And you may think that this is important to protect yourself, but I feel like when I look at the card that is challenging, it's one of those cards that even when it's in the challenge position, it really speaks about something positive. So the Sun card is about love, creativity, prosperity, a sense of joy, success. Did I miss anything positive? All the positive things, the Sun card represents. And yet it's in the challenge position. If you're interested in somebody who has Leo in a prominent position, like the sun, moon, or rising sign, you may be able to be with them, but there might be some snags along the way. There might be some obstacles. Page of Wands can be like, you hear from this person and it's kind of like a sight for sore eyes, or sore ears, I should say. And you just have to be willing to keep the faith. And I almost see like the 9 of Wands. It's not necessarily, I'm kind of like reading into this card, of keeping the faith, keeping up your positive vibes as sort of a protective barrier, not allowing anything to invade that space. Because the sun in the challenge position can be a tendency to be pessimistic over something that is really quite positive. And by the way, this could definitely have a professional aspect to it as well. So, with the 9 of Wands, for instance, there may be some last stand that you have to take. And I even feel, because I'm getting all these ashes from my sage that I just burned. I have here is what's coming in, the World card. And this can be like some kind of an ending to a chapter in your life. And it's like the 9 can also be an ending. And it could be like the final stand. In my book they said it ain't over till it's over. And so, I see this new energy coming in for you, but there's also this sense of the changing of the guards. And maybe you're, it's almost like what came into my mind right now was like training someone else for the job that you're doing right now, because you're leaving it. And being able to walk away from something, knowing, even if that, because I've heard about people having to do that and thinking, gosh, what a slap in the face. But actually knowing that is exactly why there is divine timing here, because I'm going to be doing something else where I am treated with respect. So the Sun card in the challenge position, this feeling of not being given dignity, a sense of honoring you and seeing how good you are. And so you being able to go towards that yourself. So you don't need these people to give that to you, because you know that you have it within yourself. But you're still protecting your own, or fighting back in some way, and ending that chapter of your life. Now, I will say that in June, you are going to have a solar eclipse in your sign. And even though a solar eclipse is supposed to be a powerful new moon, there is that situation of something beginning, meaning something has ended. And so stepping through that new door means you're leaving that old world behind. And even with the Sun card, I was going to point out that the number on the Sun card is 19. And if you take those numbers individually, you have the 1 and the 9. And it's almost like the Ace of Swords and the 9 of Wands. The Ace is like that 1, and the 9 is the ending, the beginning and the ending. And that's what eclipses are, and they're that way at the same time. And being able to kind of navigate between those endings and beginnings. And then we have the outcome is the Six of Cups. This is a card of childhood, and I did talk about that full moon that a lot of you may have in your fourth house of home and family, where you might be letting go of this story that you have told about your life. And, it's very interesting because perhaps that world card is that full moon for those of you, and even in the fifth house, there's a connection to childhood with the fifth house as well. But just any kind of ending, like an ending of a love affair that that may have been very passionate, but it was brief. But the point being that sometimes we have experiences that last for decades or a lifetime, and sometimes it's just a season. And the world card can indicate that has ended. But some of these situations, old resentments, old pain, can be there for decades. And the Six of Cups is that idyllic past. The sometimes that has to be let go of, because that was an illusion in a sense. Perhaps you made more of certain incidents than was warranted, and yet you have this very protected armor. And I'd say especially if you are a Gemini who has inner planets in Cancer, this can really show up that way. I know that this is a fire energy because it is defending the self, but the Cancer energy can be quite defensive and sensitive, hypersensitive towards its own protection, and protecting that illusion. Another possibility is that if this is some kind of situation with a child, I feel like you're going to put that child first. This is a soulmate card. So there may be someone, by the way, the Nine of Wands can even refer to some connection with the military. So I was getting that feeling of perhaps somebody who you're communicating with who is far away. And I wasn't specifically thinking of the military, but yeah, this card is connected to that. So there may be this sense of like, yes, we have been separated. The world card can be travel. And if you are having a long distance relationship, for instance, you may feel this sense of like, can we make this work? Do we have the dedication to make this work? And obviously it has to be mutual, but something may open up where you're able to travel and able to rekindle this situation, if this is somebody from your past, which it could certainly be. So anyway, Gemini, that's what I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a private reading, I do a lot of readings, most of my readings, using your natal chart. I always specify this, or a lot of times I like to, because I'm doing so many tarot readings that I want people to know that I'm primarily an astrologer. And I really feel comfortable with astrology in terms of doing private readings. I do tarot readings too, though. So I don't want to say I don't do tarot readings. But anyway, you can check out the type of readings I offer at the link below. I do have like hybrid readings where I do tarot reading and a chart reading for a special price called the whole enchilada. Deep dive, double chart readings for a discounted price. So you can, see those and all that good stuff at RenaMoonAstrology.com. Take care. Bye.